right, moving on. Question number 2 comes in here from Noddy. Hi there, Noddy. Thank you for being part of the amazing WiggyWam community and for sending in your question. So Noddy says, I need to sell my house quickly due to a sudden job relocation. How can I speed up the selling process without sacrificing the equity I have, as I'll need the maximum because I'm moving to a more expensive area? Okay, Noddy, well, thank you for your question, and totally appreciate where you're coming from. Great that you've got a new job in the pipeline there, and hopefully we can get you moved as quickly as possible. Now, where you are, there's a couple of different things that I would look at as a seller of my property. First of all, I would ask 3 estate agents to come and have a look at it, and I'd ask them to give me 2 figures, okay? This is really important. First of all, you're asking for a marketing figure, so they'll provide you with a normal valuation. And this is a golden question to ask estate agents. Don't ask them this up front, but ask them this once they've given you the price that they feel they should be marketing the property for. Okay, so let's say, for example, I don't know whether this is accurate on the value of your house, Noddy, but let's say, for example, they say your house is worth £300,000, right? And you might get variations. One agent might say 295, another one might say 310, another one might say 330, right? So you've got a bit of a difference in prices, and the temptation for most people is to go, I'll go for 330 because that agent thinks they're going to get me the most for the house, right? And unfortunately, what happens sometimes in the industry is that some estate agents are either massively over enthusiastic and they will overvalue a property quite innocently, but you know, they fall in love with it, or they really want the job and they put a price on it they think, yeah, they'd love to achieve for you, but unfortunately it's not realistic in the cold light of day. So the follow-up question that you ask the estate agent when they're sitting there and they've delivered a marketing figure to you is that you would ask them to say, can you give me a 6-week fire sale price that you can sell this house for and exchange contracts within 6 weeks? Okay, now they'll probably, you know, look at you a little bit like wide-eyed and like, why on earth are you asking me this? Okay, but you want to, the reason for asking this question is that you're focusing the estate agent's mind on what price would they be able to sell it for quickly within that 6 weeks period. Okay, because you know the 330 figure I've just mentioned might be achievable, but you might have to be on the market 12 months to get it. Okay, whereas they then might turn around and say, well, yeah, we think we get you 330, but you know, you'd have to wait 12-18 weeks. But actually, if you want it sold within 6 weeks, you know, we'd recommend 305, for example, all right, or 299950. All right, so it focuses the estate agent's mind, and it also gets very realistic figures on the table. And if you've got 3 agents then giving you realistic 6-week figures, then those are the sorts of figures I would be basing my numbers on. And I think every seller should ask this of estate agents personally, but that's just my take on the market, having dealt with a lot of agents over a number of years. Now, depending upon what the answers are to that question, okay, I would then speak to a local auction house and see what price realistically they feel they can achieve in the auction room. Now, the problem with going down the auction route that a lot of people don't like is the auction house normally wants to encourage the most interest they possibly can in that particular property, okay? And the way they do it is in a way that has the biggest impact on the seller's psychology, which is they price the property as low as they possibly can. So within certain guidelines and rules around the percentage difference between the reserve price and the sort of asking price, if you like, or the guide price on the property. So that £300,000 property that you might be sitting on there, they might try and advertise it for, say, 200 or 150, for example. And everybody goes, oh, that's cheap, I'm going to buy it. Right, so you get a flood of interest, a flood of people turning up who want to look at the property, a flood of interest in people in terms of wanting to view and to buy. So it packs the auction room nicely for the day of the auction. And then the idea that the auctioneer will then use is to start low and use the momentum of the bidding to get up towards a higher figure. Now, the slight difficulty is that a lot of auction houses do tend to sell for slightly less than the market value, the true market value of the property. But that only might be 10% below market value. And that might work out well for you because you've got to move quickly. Okay, so there's a balance that only you can decide upon, Noddy, as to which way you want to run with this. But that's what I'd be looking to do. The third thing would be to ask, two or more of those agents that you've asked to look at your property, once they've given you that drop dead figure, if you like, to put those on a competitive agency basis to sell the property. Okay, so that might be that you agree to pay slightly more commission, which I think is a smart thing to do. So you might agree to pay, say, 2% commission or 3% commission on the sale of the property, which might sound extreme, but then you've got 2 or 3 agents working for you to achieve the best possible result, because ultimately they're going to be rewarded for selling it. Now, if you think that most estate agents are operating in a competitive environment, they might be struggling to get 1.5%. If all of a sudden you're offering 2 or 2.5%, to you that might only be £500 to £1,000 difference in price, but to them they're doubling the fee that they might be able to get by selling your property as opposed to anybody else's. Okay, so that's something to think about, and let the agents decide for themselves how they want to divvy that fee up based on the 2 or 3 of them trying to sell it for you. Okay. So that's what I would also do. The final point I'd look at as well, Noddy, is increasing curb appeal for your property. And what I mean by that is the curb appeal is what every viewer will see when they pull up outside your property. So typically what viewers will do is they'll see the property on the internet, or they'll see it in the estate agent's window, and the first thing they'll do is they'll try take a drive past it to see if they like the area that the property's in and they like the presentation from the outside. That's called the curb appeal. Okay, not to be confused with something else beginning with curb. Okay, now from a point of view of where you are in the sales process, if you can't attract people across the threshold, okay, into your property, then you're not going to get a sale, no matter how good it is. And one of the things we did, we did some investing down in South Wales many years ago, and we bought a couple of properties, and we wanted to flip them on. And we bought a really, really nice property. It was an end terrace, loads of accommodation inside. It was an absolute bargain. And we went through the complete refurbishment program, went to sell it, and we had loads of interest in terms of people requesting details and all the rest of it. But no, we were struggling to get people across the threshold. One of the main bits of feedback was it didn't look that attractive from the outside. It was a rendered property, but it was grey render, and it just needed something to lift it a little bit. So we decided to paint the front of the house white. Okay, simple change, but dramatically increased the sort of profit. The photography. I can't even find the right word, but the photogenic, that's the word I'm looking for, the photogenic nature of the property, okay, and made it far more attractive for people to look at both online and in the estate agent's window and on the set of sales details, and therefore they were more encouraged or more inclined to come and take a look around the house, okay, and it sold very quickly thereafter. So that's something to think about in terms of doing that, and the same applies maybe with staging the property. I'm not a major fan of staging, but if you have to move out, for example, to move into the area where you are to rent a property or what have you, and you take all your furniture with you, it might pay you to put some staging furniture in there to make the property look really sweet and really homely and really welcoming, in order to make it more appealing, rather than trying to sell an empty house. And trust me, I'll try to sell loads of them. And if you're trying to sell, at different times of the year, especially in the winter, and you walk into a cold, dark, empty house, people walk around a bedroom and go, oh, you're not going to get a double bed in here. And obviously you can, but, there's no frame of reference, if you like, in terms of a double bed being in the room to allow people to see what, the size and shape of it all. So hope that helps. One of the things I'm going to advise you not to do, Noddy, a lot of people in your sort of situation will start swimming in shark-infected waters. They'll go online, and Google something like quick house sale, or they'll look in the local paper an advert that says, we buy houses for cash, etc. Like anything in life, there's some really good property investors and there's some really poor ones out there. The worst examples I've heard are of investors saying, yes, we'll offer you this much money for the property, and then at the 11th hour reducing down that offer quite significantly and putting sellers into a kind of take it or leave it fait accompli situation with a gun to the head, which I think is very unethical and not worth doing. Okay, so be careful not to swim in those shark-infected waters there, Noddy. Get yourself, some good estate agents to back you in this, and that's exactly where you want to be taking this. All right, so hope that helps, Noddy. Let me know if there's anything else we can help you with, and good luck. Now, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much indeed for joining me here on this webinar today. We are doing this same time, same place every week. So if you've got questions, concerns, comments, feedback, anything that you want to send in to us, there's a number of ways you can get in contact with us. The first is via email. Email address is happytohelp@wiggywam.co.uk. That's happytohelp@wiggywam.co.uk. Okay, you can send us your property questions or anything else to that email address. You can also get in touch with us through our website. That is at www.wiggywam.co.uk. That's WIGGYWAM.co.uk. You can access your free profile in there. You can view blogs. You can view our broadcasts that we put out every single week. There's a wealth of content and knowledge and information there. So I encourage you to sign up and get involved and start becoming part of the amazing WiggyWam community. You can also go to Twitter. Our Twitter handle is @WiggyWam_UK. So that's @WiggyWam_UK, where you can, again, get in contact with us via Twitter and send us your comments, feedback, questions, and anything else that you may have. Also, if you'd like to be a guest on a future episode of our webinars and our podcast, by all means, please get in contact with us. Send us an email, happytohelp@wiggywam.co.uk. And if you just put in the subject there, podcast guest, we'd love to have you on, share some knowledge and expertise with their community. And I'll look forward to hearing from you all very soon. So thanks ever so much indeed for joining me. And I look forward to seeing you again on a future webinar and podcast very soon. Take care.